Oh, no, wait a minute. You think I'm funny, like a clown. Do the nice guys amuse you? Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
All right, ready?
No, I got to get the promise statement. I'm just going to print it out from now on.
And all your Mac stuff. So
Wait a minute. Let me just hold on. Okay, I'm ready now. Fire away.
Ladies and gentlemen, Funkin' fans, welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the mic, Mr. Doug Sandler, who can't find the promise statement to save his life.
You definitely sound today like you are an air traffic controller. Is everything okay, Strickland?
Oh, is it really that loud? Yes, I am in the great city of Las Vegas, Sin City. I'm sitting at Hennessy's, which is a bar on Fremont Street, downtown, old school Vegas.
Downtown, yeah.
Oh, it's really fun too. It's really nice. And I'm working hard for my Funkin' fans, although for our Funkin' fans, I put a post up on which will be last week now. So this is coming out on Monday, and nobody chimed in to say, hey, I would love to meet you for a beer.
It doesn't happen that way. It happens more organically. Like you'll be in town, you'll be in line at the grocery store buying liquor or Jack Daniels or some beer at the freaking 7-Eleven because they sell liquor and wine at every place in Vegas. And you'll just you'll like flash your phone and they'll see a logo of the Nice Guys on Business podcast and somebody behind you will say, "That's the best show. I listened to that." And you'll be like, what the fuck?
That's a really good idea. I got to put the Nice Guys sticker on my phone so when people see it, they'll know, hey, I'm one of the nice guys.
It should be everywhere. You should be known as the co-host or maybe the host of the Nice Guys on Business podcast, and everybody will then see organically. People will just start migrating in your direction. You will put out a vibe that I am the Lord High Exalted of the podcast.
I love it. What a great idea! But we do have a guest today, Mr. Brian Russell, that you interviewed. So we really should get to that because we have made a point more recently on our interview days to not ramble so much because it's really not polite to make our guests wait.
Brian Russell, I met him through some connections on Twitter, and he has this podcast. I mean, he has this comic called Underfold Comics. If you haven't gotten a chance to ever check out, or if you don't know Brian, you want to take a moment and go to his website. It's at theunderfold.com, and we'll make sure that we put the links in the link in the show notes. He's a really funny guy, but he's like a dry kind of funny. So I don't know if he's actually telling a joke or not.
But I love it.
So reading actually the strip, most of them are like 4-part little comics that he puts in there, and it's about they're true to life examples of all the shit that goes on in his life. So there's like one I'm looking at right now. It's kind of funny, it's kind of dorky, it's kind of like bad humor, but in a good way, and it's the shit's funny. It really is funny. I don't know. I just tend to be attracted to that type of the sophomoric humor. So anyway, he's got a great message. As an entrepreneur, he's got a great message too, because it's all about the struggle when you're an artist. Creatives have a very challenging time making a living. So to hear the struggles that he has gone through over the last many years since he's developed this comic strip and the full-time job and where does his side hustle and does his family support him, and the whole the same shit that kind of all of us entrepreneurs have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Strick, I might be able to relate to you to a certain degree, although you get a paycheck. You know what it's like. You got to you got to have support. So we talk about how the support really comes to play with a family and how you can still be creative, have a side hustle, do a full-time gig at the same time. So very, very relatable guy and a great interview. Good guy to get to know as well.
All right. So are we going to get to the promise statement before we jump into the interview with Brian?
I definitely think we should. You know what the promise statement is, though, don't you?
We were just talking about it. I was actually waiting because you were looking for it.
No, I have it.
You do have it. Oh, you do have it. Now, I thought that was a delay tactic when you said, do I know it?
No, I absolutely 100% know that the Nice Guys on Business promise statement is to provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life. And you
didn't have that at the beginning of the episode, did you?
It wasn't. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves. I wasn't exactly thinking I was going to connect with you quite as easily as I did. I hit Skype and you were right there, which Strick, just so you know, most of the time it's just not that way. I'm waiting for you generally. And today you were actually waiting for me.
No, well, it's not that you're waiting for me. It's that you dial me on Skype and I don't see that it's ringing. Like there's no audio ringer on Skype for me for whatever reason. Like I have to actually look at you're listening in Skype and click on it and I see the little phone just jiggling. That's the only way it rings. So
that's weak.
And then there are other times where you're waiting on me, yes.
Yeah, maybe.
But not today. Not today.
All right, well, let's get to the interview with Brian Russell. Tomorrow's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Tuesday, so we will have the full. Definitely, I got some great stories about my recent trip to Florida to visit my ex-in-laws. You'll really enjoy the whole story. My dealings with Apple while I was down there. My dealings with my ex-wife while I was dealing with her parents down in Florida. Very, very fun story to share on tomorrow's episode. So let's get to our interview with Brian Russell right here, and we'll share all of our shenanigans tomorrow.
All righty, let's get to it.
Finally, a guy on the Nice Guys podcast that might get my incredibly offbeat, mostly sophomoric sense of humor. Brian Russell of Underfold Comics has a sense of humor I would scale on the slightly offbeat side. He's a husband, a father, and a totally self-described geeky guy. And he's a cartoonist, too. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, Brian.
Thank you very much. I would definitely fit offbeat. I think that's probably the safest way to say that.
I love your stuff. And when I think what brought me to you originally was just seeing it might have even been your profile picture. I forget if it was on Twitter or Facebook or one of the social media channels, but just very unique. And then I'm like looking at the real you, and I'm like, that's really a cartoon version of you. Is that right?
Oh yes.
So when did you discover that you wanted to be a cartoonist?
Oh boy, I think it was when I rediscovered that I wanted to be a cartoonist. When I was a kid growing up, I just really loved the idea of drawing comic strips. Reading Calvin and Hobbes and everything. It was just so much fun to laugh at it, and it seemed so simple at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And after a while, as a kid, you go through phases of everything that you want to do under the sun. And, I wound up going to film school and then graduating from film school and going into
waiting tables,
web work, web design.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I get those two always confused.
It was right about there. I did my stint in retail for a while too, so there's definitely that. But it's just been a wild ride, and I think the funny part is that hosting my own webcomic and doing all this stuff has actually led me to real jobs doing. I say real jobs as if other cartoonists aren't having real jobs. I apologize, all you cartoonists out there. You guys have real jobs.
I'm sure we have a ton in our community. So I believe you've insulted nobody so far in our community. So you're doing fine. Although we do have a lot of creatives, I would say that being an entrepreneur on its own is a very creative process, which is really why I love the fact that you're a cartoonist, but I also love the fact that you own your own business, and that's definitely a cool thing. So. Do you feel like you're more of a creative person or more of a business guy? So business guy turned cartoonist or cartoonist turned business guy?
Well, let's see. I hyperventilate at the thought of doing our family budget. So I'd say creative, mostly.
Okay. No, that's all right.
I get wrapped up really easily in solving problems. And so whenever there's something that I feel like I should be able to solve, I'm 12 pages deep on a Google search trying to figure out how to do it. So usually it's just the money stuff that always hangs me up. I'm just like, I'd like to get successful enough that I can hire somebody that I don't have to think about this.
And that will never change either. It'll be, I feel like the problem solver in you will continue to be, as we all are, is I'm a DJ in my other gig, in my alter ego, and I always look at it and say, am I a creative guy being a DJ that's a business guy, or am I a business guy that just happened to find a good outlet to I guess play for a living and be a DJ? So you love doing what you do, and what's really interesting about your work is you draw yourself into the cartoon, and you even call your character Brian. So I wonder, is that a model after your own life? I love when your wife yells at you through your cartoon. So there's a lot of what dangers are there when you draw your real life out as a cartoon, Brian?
The funny part is that my wife doesn't necessarily understand why my comic is funny, at least to me, and so every time I show it to her, she just rolls her eyes. She loves the fact that I love what I'm doing, and the fact that I can find success doing it. But she's like, whatever, just I don't get it. I don't have to. It's okay.
You draw one of these where you're I think where you were in your car, or you were calling her from your car, and she was like, where the hell are you? You've been gone like an hour. I just sent you to the store to pick up quinoa, and you're like, you got all these fast food wrappers next to you with food all over your shirt and everything else, and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling good now.
Yeah, it's great. Health food's great until you want to eat something that's not healthy.
So let's talk this for a second. Since this is the Nice Guys on Business and all, your website is pretty good and easy to navigate. And assuming the best thing for you to do is you get people to lay eyeballs on your work to, in order for you to promote yourself. What works well in order for you to promote your business, aside from you just being good at what you do? You could be the best cartoonist in the entire world and have crickets come into your website because you just don't promote it. So how do you promote properly with your business?
I think the two biggest traffic generators, and they're not really on equal playing ground, but are actually social media, which mainly Twitter and also Reddit. Social bookmarking works wonders for a lot of things, and the real trick of both of those two things is titling everything properly. You just really have to figure out what the community is on all of the different sites, and figure out what the best way, or really, actually, I was just listening to one of your shows, and the guy was saying, the customer is the one that knows what they want.
Right.
And it's just a matter of you're going onto these sites, you are entering their world, and so you have to really post in the way that they want to absorb the content. And so, I've struggled with that because, you have ads on the site, and so you want to get people to your site, obviously. But at the same time, if you can't get people to click on it.
No, I get. So wait, so help clarify something for me.
Sure.
So part of your income, and help me with this for a moment, part of your income is made up of people going to your site and clicking on things that are not necessarily yours, what's it called, AdSense or something like that?
Correct, yeah. Okay,
got it. And so is that a good revenue generator for your online business?
It can be. It can be on good traffic weeks. I also rely a little bit on Patreon as well. As it's a
familiar with Patreon. Nice Guy community. Did you say I'm a business guy? I would know what that is.
Exactly.
You don't listen to the show very often. Yeah, a Nice Guy community. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a website that you can actually list different levels where you want people to sponsor your show. So instead of having, let's say, an advertiser, or in addition to having an advertiser, I guess, you can have people come and sponsor your show, and they can sponsor it for $1 a month. They could sponsor it for $1,000 a month, and they may get different levels of service from you based upon. It's a little bit like bribery, yes, but it's fine. It's legal bribery, and they're just bribing you to keep doing your work. So
it's kind of like an ongoing Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's like an ongoing Kickstarter. Exactly. That's a good way of putting it, Brian. Very
a little bit less bribery.
Yeah, a little less bribery. Sure. I get that. Talk for a second about persistence, because I know that as a cartoonist and as anybody that has a creative talent, that can only get you so far. And I'm assuming you need to use networking connections to get money coming in the door. So, really, how persistent do you need to be, especially when you're a creative person? Because I think there's probably a lot of people in our community that are creative, where they feel that they are more creative than they are business people. And I want to give them hope that says, continue to be creative. So is that what worked for you, persistence, or was something else better for you?
Well, it's definitely persistence. There was I've tried a number of things from from advertising to doing the whole commenting on people's sites that are similar to yours, hoping to God that someone will come back. And really, I mean, it's just a matter of plugging away, doing what you love. I mean, you still have to do all of the others, all of the hard work.
Yeah.
But really, just I mean, I'm on my 9th year of doing this comic in varying formats, and so I've tried a bunch of different things and kind of come back to what I originally started as to a certain extent, and after this long of trying to figure all that out, I finally hit my stride, I feel like, and so. I've seemed to hit a more resonant audience, and so that I mean it's definitely a persistence thing. I mean, if I had given up, then I would.
What's the other? What was the other plan? What were you going to do?
There wasn't one.
Right. I guess that's a way.
Working my regular job and and not.
Right. I think that's where most people oftentimes they I don't want to call it fail because I don't think it's a failure, but I think that most people just say, okay, well, I'll just continue this full-time job, have this thing called a job, and I'll do my, my web design or my SEO stuff or my cartooning on the side, and that's just kind of how that I'm going to make it. And at what point did you say, this is what I'm going to do because this is what I love doing?
Well, I think it's been a mixture. I've come and gone from both. I currently actually still do it as as sort of a side gig. Mm-hmm. It is completely a business on its own. But I also like not having to worry about health insurance and stuff.
Right.
And so I kind of have. I've come to terms with it. I think there's a time and a place. There's a great book by John Acuff called Quitter. Don't know if you've read it, but it's a terrific book all about figuring out when the right time to quit your job is, and that usually it's not when you think it is.
It never is, and the timing is never right either. Do you think that if you decided tomorrow that you wanted to pull the plug on what you were doing with your full-time gig, do you think? And what is your full-time gig, by the way? What do you do?
I'm the manager of online strategies for a nonprofit.
Okay, so tell me from a creativity standpoint, is that completely the polar opposite from your cartooning, or sometimes that kind of stuff can actually be pretty creative as well?
It kind of plays in together. I actually wound up getting the job through my comic. The experience that I had gained through working with websites and managing my own content and creating a successful website on my own that people noticed me and were willing to take me on as a job.
So as a creative guy, a guy that uses your talents of drawing for a living or for a part-time hustle, how do you keep the creativity stream going? I know you probably pull a lot of your inspiration from just real life things that happen to you, but is that where the creativity comes from, or is it stem from somewhere else?
I think a lot of it comes from real life. I do a lot of media ingestion.
Okay, yeah.
But it's just a matter of watching different things. My brain tends to make really random connections, and so it's just a matter of accepting what real life is and then pushing it a little bit farther in my brain to what's even more absurd than what was real.
Oh yeah, pushing the creativity envelope into more absurdity. I think that's kind of what we do. There's a ongoing stream of consciousness that happens in our show that is constantly. Strick and I talk about this all the time. That did we go too far with that? Nah, probably no. Probably didn't go too. It probably didn't push it far enough. Right. When you get to that level where you think it's gone too far, let's just take it one step further and see what we can come out of it. See how many people we can offend or insult, or we don't mean to, but oftentimes that happens with big time corporate America. See other episodes on Kmart, Sprint, Comcast, Care First, or any of the big organizations that we've seemed to lambast over the last couple of years.
Oh man, but Kmart, like, to their credit, they have come up with some of the best marketing that has not worked at all.
I was going to say, what are you going to say that's good about them? And then you brought it back to reality.
I mean, like, ship your pants. That is classic.
I'm assuming that's a television ad. I have not, or maybe it's a print. I have not seen.
You should look that one up. I mean, that's just comedy gold. It's great. They had some great ads.
We have to figure out, Brian, how to get a couple of your pieces of artwork as our cover art, because if we could get that, I don't know if we're going to completely allow you to I'm going to open up this world of opportunity with my community, but which would be an amazing thing for. I don't know if we would be an amazing thing for you. I'm hoping we would think that we would be able to share your message around the world, and it would be terrific. But man, the idea of having me and Strick on the cover done by a Brian Russell cartoon, and I'm like, that could be pretty cool. I want to actually use your cartoon for you as your cover art for your episodes. So
that'd be great.
We'll have to get you to do one like in front of a podcast microphone or something like that. Can you? I'm sure you're pretty creative when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Anyway, all right. Let me get to the lightning round here, because I think this is important. And in this, you are ready. You're like, okay, he's ready to go. So here's the way the lightning round works. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Those 5 questions, I don't want to give you a lot of thought time in between the time that I finish asking the question and you answer it. And you have about 20 seconds to answer each question. I'm not going to interrupt, but I can't promise I won't. Okay. So,
fair enough.
All right. So here come the 5 questions. Are you ready?
Right. Yes.
All right. Be relatable. What do you suck at?
Talking to people in a regular space.
Oh, so you're really bad at like networking environment would be horrible for you.
It's funny, at like a convention or something like that, I feel like I'm in my element. Throw me into a party, I'm awful. It's terrible. No, put that separation, that table in front of me, or this microphone. Like, this isn't real life. You're not here.
No, I get it.
This is totally okay.
I feel the same. Well, here we go. I'm starting to have this conversation. I said we're not going to do this. I won't interrupt. All right. Okay. Number 2. Be transparent. How did you pay your bills when you first got going?
Had a full-time job forever, and will continue probably to have one for a long time.
I got it. Okay. Be confident. What do you do as good as any entrepreneur does as it gets? I'm sorry. Let me ask you it again. Be confident. What do you do as an entrepreneur as good as it gets?
I think social media is one of the things that I feel like I do really well.
Okay. Good. Be humble. What experts do you need to call upon to make shit happen?
I surround myself with artists that are better than me all the time, so that they push me to do better.
Well, that's good. That's good. So when you say artists, you mean like artists that are in the cartooning world, or artists artists in the cartooning world that are, I have friends that are better at art and better at business than I am. And so I'd like to surround myself with both of them and hope that they usually will spur me on. I got it. Okay. Be realistic. Where are you going to be in 90 days, and how far into the future can you see?
I'm terrible at seeing into the future because I'm a complete cynic and a pessimist. But I think in 90 days, I will probably be in a very similar situation to where I am right now.
Okay. That's all right.
I'm really loving the balance that I've struck between creating comics and also managing family and work life.
No, that's definitely good. And how important is that? I mean, that's got to be critical. And when does it start to get fuzzy for you outside of 90 days? Because I can look at my budget and determine, I can do it for 90 days. And I can actually look at some goals and some things I got going on and look at 90 days. Beyond that, though, I start to get really fuzzy.
Yeah, I think 90 days is pretty much my my actual forecast limit. I can dream of things all day long, but just actually trying to plan around those dreams is really hard for me because I'm a little too pessimistic for it.
Completely understand. Do you have time for just a couple of quick questions before we conclude?
Sure.
Okay, great. Do you have an iPhone, or you have something inferior?
I have a Samsung Note 5.
Oh, come on.
Not the exploding version.
All right, not the exploding one. All right, do you have it anywhere near you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Go to your picture app for a second, and without exploding your phone. And what is the last photo you took?
Oh, it's a couple photos of my kids and I that I sent to my wife who is out.
All right, excellent. And look at the last text you sent and received. What were they?
The pictures.
Okay. Any words, or you just send a picture?
It was saying good night, mommy, from my wife, from me to my wife, from my kids.
All right. Yeah, nice. Hey, how can our Nice Guy community get a hold of you if they want to get more information about Brian Russell?
You can reach me on Twitter at theunderfold, Facebook at theunderfold, and that's the Underfold. My website is also theunderfold.com. Pretty much everything is the Underfold. I've managed to swipe all of those.
No, that's awesome. Hal, I'm looking forward to seeing what the artwork would look like. So we're going to make sure we put all your contact information right there in the show notes. And
sure.
And thanks for being a part of the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been great.
Cool. Nice Guy community. Never underestimate the power of nice. Special thanks again to Brian Russell from The Underfold Comics. And we will be in touch with you really soon. And Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Fill up your week with the Nice Guys. Have fun storming the castle, boys.